Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to talk about the absolute dumpster fire that has been the Old World pre-orders, because it's been an absolute yay pre-orders, and oh my god, was I so not expecting this. So pre-orders are out, and well, what can we say? It has not gone according to plan for Games Workshop. It's very evident that this has been rolled out like a steaming pile of garbage. It has not been done well at all. The internet is wild with people angry that they have spent an hour or so in a queue, only to find out by the time they get out of the queue that the products that they want to buy are sold out. There have been issues with online retailers, even the large online retailers, which is what I'm actually surprised about. We're not taking online orders. I always use Element Games most of the time if I'm going to be ordering online, and they had a disclaimer on yesterday morning on their website saying that they were not taking online orders, that they were only going to be selling physical items in their stores. That was it. They weren't taking online orders, and that's mental. They're one of the biggest online retailers here at least in the UK for Warhammer, and they're not taking them because they haven't been allocated enough stock. Like, what is that about? Like, and I did speak to my local gaming store, his owner. I'm not going to name names or anything, and he was telling me how when he spoke to the rep initially, they asked him how much Old World do you want, and he went, I want 15 to 20 of each item. The guy from Games Workshop, his rep, was like, really, you want that much? And seemed to be shocked that he wanted that much stock, because it seems to be that Games Workshop didn't think this was going to go and sell as much as it actually has. And you know, it's crazy. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised and shocked at how badly they've done this, considering that the last two big events, the launches that they've had, was Warhammer 40k 10th edition and the Horus Heresy. Now, on regards to 40k, there was the whole drama before the launch where people were like, is this going to be like 9th edition, where we couldn't get the Indominus box? It was like pretty much sold out within minutes, blah, 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 and lots of angry people. And even big-time YouTubers like Valrak had made multiple videos about how bad 9th edition was and how nobody could get these boxes. And Games Workshop publicly come out and said that Leviathan was not going to be like that, that you would be able to get Leviathan, everybody was going to be able to get Leviathan, and even to this day, there are still Leviathan stock floating around online and in stores. I mean, I remember just before Christmas, one of my local hobby stores literally was sent a couple of copies of Leviathan by Games Workshop in their order, like, and they have them on the shelf even now, so you can still get this box, which is good. But the Horus Heresy was the same. Like, the rollout of the Age of Darkness box and the initial launch of the Horus Heresy was really well done. You could get pretty much whatever you wanted. You could order on any online retailer and get whatever you wanted, and there was no problems. Yet now we come to the Old World, that's not the case. It's like, what? Like, have you not read the room? I did laugh late last night. Games Workshop put out a post on Facebook, and it was the usual, and I presume it was like, these are scheduled posts, so someone's probably done this on a Friday afternoon and scheduled it. So I don't think it's actually like somebody sat there at 10:30 that night and went, we're going to put a post out telling everybody there's pre-orders open, because, like, obviously they're not working at that time of night. So these posts have been scheduled to come out at that point. And it was basically like, really, you're putting out a post at that time of night about pre-orders when like literally everything is sold out 12 hours ago. Like, you can't get anything anymore. It's pretty much gone. And that's just like, read the room, Games Workshop. Read the room. But yeah, it has been a little bit of a nightmare. And there's been not just the pre-orders being a bit of a mess. There's been a lot of anger around the legacy factions as well. There's generally just been a lot of toxicity. And I've seen it directed towards influencers. Although I will talk about the influencers in a little bit, because some of that shit is really tedious. But in regards to the legacy armies... Right, okay, let's just cut to the chase here, right? If you play Lizardmen, right, Seraphon or whatever, like, okay, you're getting free rules, right? Your rules are free. Yes, okay, they're not supported at tournaments, which are official tournaments, which means they're at Games Workshop events. Where does Games Workshop hold events? At Warhammer World and at large conventions. Now, let's be seriously honest here, right? If you're in your local community, and I made this point to a couple of the guys I was talking to in my local hobby group, and like when people were complaining about this, and it was like, look, we live in Northern Ireland. How many official Games Workshop events do we have in Northern Ireland? 0. How many do we have in the south of Ireland? 0. How many do we have in the north of England? 0. How many do we have in Wales? 0. How many do we have in Scotland? 0. How many do we have in the south of England? 0. How many do we have in the Midlands? 1. At Warhammer World. That's it. So unless you're one of these people that are going to Warhammer World and that's the only events that you ever attend, and you play one of the legacy armies, then yes, it sucks for you because your army's not going to be welcome. But if you live anywhere else and you don't attend official GW events, I'm pretty sure that your local tournament organisers are probably going to let you use those armies. In regards to FAQing, now, I've had some comments in my YouTube channel regarding FAQs for the legacy armies and how it's stated that they will not get FAQs. Okay, there's a potential for that to happen. But as in the Horus Heresy, we were also told that the legacy won't get any support. We got a massive update of an FAQ that also included the legacy units. Case in point, the full Mataris Terminators for the Ultramarines. They were FAQ'd and toned down. And there was a lot of other FAQs in that legacy document to change a lot of things. So Games Workshop can and have FAQ'd legacy things in the past. So I don't see how these factions in the old world are going to be any different. Also, the miniatures. Okay, the miniatures. A lot of them are, people are angry because they're not going to get new miniatures. If you play Lizardmen, your entire army has just been updated. Literally. Here's a new Croxigor. They're now plastic. They fit on the 50mm size bases. You just literally have to buy 50mm bases. If you play Skaven, there's a good chance that in the summer, when Age of Sigmar 4th edition comes out, you're getting a range refresh, which means you're probably going to get new miniatures. Now, here's the caveat, and the potential that could be quite bad. The existing Skaven range could be discontinued and replaced with the new Age of Sigmar range. That could happen. But as we've seen, if Skaven get brought into the old world, those older models that are currently for sale right now will probably more than likely be brought back for the old world. Hey, they've just brought back Tomb Kings that date back to 1993. So there is a good chance that the Skaven models, if they get brought into the timeline, which is a very good chance that that could happen, could also come over. The Dark Elves are another interesting faction that could possibly happen with. We know in this timeline right now that the Dark Elves are preparing for their war of vengeance against the High Elves. That is probably going to kick off at some point in the future. I would imagine that the reason why they're not in the game right now is because of that story arc, and that the Dark Elves in Age of Sigmar are meant to be getting their own miniature range, meaning that the entire fantasy range for the old world will then be able to be used, and there's no crossover. I think people need to stop with the hyperbolic drama and woe is me, this is really bad, when in reality it isn't. You've been given rules. If you already have an army, you're in a really good place. The second-hand market sucks, and it sucks for everybody. I'm a High Elf player. I plan to use High Elves for the old world. Right now, I can't buy High Elf models at all. My army is one of the 9 supported in the old world, but I can't buy models unless I go to the second-hand market, and I'm talking like an Island of Blood set is being sold for like £130, and it's probably not even near half of what the launch box for roughly the same price that Games Workshop's going to sell me. So right now, the second-hand market are gouging people because they know they're hyped for this. So, you know, there's a lot of people in the same boat, and their armies are in the 9 factions that are supported. Unless you're a Beastman player. If you're a Beastman player, you're literally laughing because the entire Beastman range is pretty much available to you for the old world. It's probably, right now, the Beastmen are probably the easiest faction to get into the old world in regards to miniatures, because they're there. You know, the entire range is the old Fantasy Battles range, which is now used in Age of Sigmar, which is also is perfectly compatible for the old world, and you literally just need to get the correct base sizes. It's nuts. It's really, I've looked at Beastmen and went, should I do a Beastman army while I wait for High Elves? You know, it's crazy good. So I think you need to take a step back. Don't be as angry, and try to look at alternatives. And if you're adamant you want to play the army, don't use Games Workshop miniatures. Mantic sell perfectly good Dark Elf miniatures that you can literally buy now that are far cheaper than Games Workshop will ever be, and are just as good. If you don't want to spend £175 on a Tomb Kings box, don't go to Mantic and pay £100 for nearly a 2,000 point army straight out of the box. There is nothing stopping you from using other miniatures. There are plenty of content creators out there saying, go and 3D print your army. If that's what you can do, go and do it. Like, at this point in time, and I'm normally a little bit iffy about 3D printing, I normally would say I would rather people support the game because that gives it longevity. But right now, we don't know how this is getting rolled out. One of the things I have asked Games Workshop for is a roadmap of how they're rolling this out. How long am I, as a High Elf player, going to have to wait before I can buy things? And I don't think that's an unreasonable request to have. So if you are one of the Legacy Army players, you know, there are other alternatives than Games Workshop miniatures. Get your free rules. Get your hands on a rule book. Don't know how. They'll be back in stock in a couple of weeks, I imagine. Get one. Get your models from Mantic, or 3D print your army. Get your bases from eBay, and get out there and start playing games. And enjoy the hobby. And stop getting angry over things that you don't need to get angry about. Like, you can do this without ultimately buying the miniatures from Games Workshop, and if and when they become available and you really want those sculpts, go and do it. You can play and do this on however you want. Rant over. Right, so it hasn't been a good rollout. It's been pretty shit, let's be fair. And I'm a little bit disappointed at Games Workshop, and I don't like making videos like this. I don't like making negative videos where I'm bashing on Games Workshop, but I think in this case they kind of deserve it. This definitely seems to be their mismanagement rather than any malicious or deliberate attempt at creating FOMO. From what I've read and the conversations I've had with people, it seems to be a very much from their point of view, they didn't think this was going to be as big as it is. Which is absolutely moronic, considering that this is the old world. There's huge hype for this. And maybe that's a hang-up because they had to discontinue the game, and they maybe thought that it wasn't going to be as popular. And they have been a little bit cagey with it, and a little bit like, okay, we'll put it out, but we'll put it out in the bare minimum, and as a feeler to see what happens. There has always been a market for this. Total War 3 Warhammer, which is one of the most successful games of its type for this last 10 years, is literally says that there's a market for this. Crazy. Now, the influencers. Oh, yes. Now, I had a little bit of a to and fro on Facebook with SM Battle Reports, and I like the boys at SM Battle Reports. DC and Pardo do some amazing content, and their new battle report with the Beastmen versus High Elves is an absolute mwah, really well done. There are influencers out there that have been given a lot of stuff, and all I've seen from them is literally a handful of photos. Some of them have been given a £175 free box, and all they did was literally paint up a dragon. It's really annoying, and it's really kind of and I think this is what kind of drives the anger as well, that if you are a customer, a paying customer, who has spent a long time sitting in queues on a Saturday morning to try to order your pre-orders, and you've then found out that you've not been able to pre-order anything because it's all sold out, and then you turn on social media and Instagram is filled with pictures of people sharing what they've been given, and they're literally not real content creators. And I don't class Instagram people as content creators, because very few of them are basically, it's just a hobby page that they've got a large following on, and Games Workshop sent them stuff for free. Unlike SN Battle Reports and Tabletop Tactics and Winters and all of those guys, they put the hours and the graft in, and so do the big time painters and stuff. They put the hours and the graft in on this stuff. But if you're just somebody with, 10,000 followers on Instagram and Games Workshop send you stuff, and all you ever do is literally just post pictures, that for me, that really grinds me, because there are content creators out there who would literally chop off their arms and legs to get access to this type of thing so they can make content on it. I would love to. If Games Workshop sent me some stuff, I would make content until it come in blue and blood out my eyes to get it done. And I would love it. And I would make content like all day long if I could. But I can't, because I don't get that opportunity. And in reality, I probably never will. And I'm okay with that. I'm in a way, I'm kind of free to do whatever I want. I don't have to be beholden. I can make videos like this, criticizing them quite harshly for their absolute sheer mess of a launch that the pre-orders have been, and not have to worry about any repercussions. I can be open and honest with you, my viewers, with whatever I want to say, because at the end of the day, I'm not have an NDA and a contract with the company where I have to be nice to them, and I kind of have to skirt around the negativity. Case in point, when you look at all of the content creators that are linked with Games Workshop and how they talked about Warhammer Fest, very few of them actually said Warhammer Fest was shit. When mentioning the queues and the issues of the event, they kind of glossed over it because they're not allowed, because of the way that they're signed in with them. They have to get their free stuff. So I think it's a little bit annoying, and I would love Games Workshop to actually address this and actually look at content and what people are actually doing to warrant that amount of stuff. Like, I've seen some channels were given every single item that was up on pre-order. Now, do influencers and content creators need to be sent the map? Why? Why are they getting sent the map? Why are they getting sent the card packs? They don't need any of that. They just need the rulebook and some models. But anyway, that's a complete different rant. All in all, this has not been a good weekend for anybody. I think I've pre-ordered my army book. Personally, if I don't get it because my local store doesn't get access to any of it, then that's fine. I will wait until they come up on general sale and pick one up whenever I can. The main thing that I want Games Workshop to do right now is to put out a roadmap. I want to see what their idea schedule is for things to come. And they know they can do it because they've done it with other games like 40k, Age of Sigmar, and the Horus Heresy. And I would like to see something for the old world. I'd like to know when the Dwarf and Orcs and Goblin launch boxes are coming. Who is the next one? Are we going to be waiting 3 months? Are we going to be waiting 6 months? Are we going to be getting all of the factions this year? Or is this going to be spaced out over a number of years? Because I think that and how quickly this rolls out will essentially make or break this game in regards to its longevity and playability. Because if, like me, I'm a High Elf player and I'm one of the last factions to get officially updated and supported with my books and my launch box and all of that kind of stuff, if I'm waiting a year for that, by the time that stuff rolls out, I've already forgot about the old world and I'm moving on to other things. I'll be like, oh, right, oh yeah, the old world, yeah, great. I've painted my 800 points of elves already. I've not played any games because I don't really know what's going on with my army. Oh, right, oh, okay, well, I'm not interested because I'm playing Horus Heresy more or Age of Sigmar more, or I'm getting more involved in 40k. So there is that kind of danger that they kind of do need the momentum and keep building upon that. So yeah, but this video has gone far too long already, so I'm going to cut it there. So thank you for all of the support. This weekend's videos are popping off. I thought I'd just make this video because, you know, it's hobby news, and let's talk about these things. So if you weren't able to get any pre-orders, or what are your experiences this weekend with the pre-orders and the launch of the old world, let me know in the comments below. And we'll have this talk about it down there as always. And if you want to support the channel, you can either hit the subscribe button, or you can, if you want, you can check out my members area. And yeah, and you can be like Mrs. Pointy. Thank you so much for all of the support so far. It's been absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next video, people. Goodbye for now.